Hi guys, Carol Fransky here again from Mum and Beyond Depression. Today I just want to talk to you about the dance that we have going on between the food that we eat and the mood that we're in. And this could apply to a short-term mood that you might be in just for a few hours or a couple of days or a week, or looking more generally and more broadly and more chronically at something like a mood disorder like depression or another mental illness. And I'm calling it a dance because I want to look at the way that the food that we eat can affect our mood, and the mental state that we're in, and also the way that the mental state that we're in, the mood that we have, can affect the food that we then gravitate towards and that we choose to put into our bodies. And my key point here is that a lot of the time we resort to punishment or judgment on the foods that we're eating and the choices that we're making. And we might quite intelligently and rationally know that to improve our mood or improve our depression or whatever, that we need to be eating healthier, or we need to be eating better foods, or paleo, or whatever it is that we need to be eating. But I think that the reason why that doesn't work a lot of the time is because it misses the mark a little. It misses the key point that there is such a dance going on between our food and our mood that it's not that easy to just change one, because one affects the other, which then affects back to the food or the mood again. And so what we need to do is look at it, and you can see my hand going around here, looking at it as a cycle, an interrelated cycle. And we don't want to break that cycle because it's a natural one. It's one that should be there. But what we want to do is we want to raise that cycle, raise it so that it's higher and higher, higher vibrationally, if you like, if you want to talk metaphysics. So in order to shift our cycle up so that both the health-giving benefits of the food we eat and the mood that we're holding and generating, so that both of those become more positive, has got to come from our heart. Okay, it's got to be something that stems from love. Only through love are we going to be able to give ourselves the space and the honesty with ourselves to start making better choices of both what we put into our bodies and also the thoughts that we think that then create our mood. Only from a place of love can we bring both of those up at the same time. Okay, we don't want to break that cycle. We don't want to separate it. We don't want to cause punishment or judgment upon ourselves. We want to use love to raise that cycle higher, and in doing so, raising our vibrations higher and taking us to a better place. And so, my suggestion for this: the one that I like the most and that works the best for me is to focus on eating with intention. And by that I mean thinking loving thoughts about the food that I put into my body. And so it doesn't become such a scientific process where I'm looking at, well, that food's good and that food's bad. Partly because, what's good and bad changes depending on the day and the person and which scientific study has most recently come out. But also because, it has been shown that, and it makes sense really, that the intention with which we ingest our food has a lot to do with how healthy it is for us. And so I choose, no matter what it is that I'm eating, whether it's a chocolate bar, or whether it's, some eggs that I've cooked for my chickens for breakfast, or my homemade sourdough with some, a side serve of spinach that I've grown in my garden, all organic. I know where it's all come from. It would be easy to judge that and go, okay, the sourdough and eggs and spinach are good, and the chocolate's bad. but I choose not to look at it that way. I choose to create the meal or to open the chocolate bar with love and think, this is fucking awesome. This is what I want to be eating, and I am so happy that I'm putting this into my body. And in doing that, I relax. My judgment goes, and I can see that I'm feeding myself love, regardless of the actual chemical constituents of the food that I'm putting into my body. And what I find is that I tend to gravitate towards those things that make my body feel better anyway. And so I choose less chocolate, and I end up choosing more of the traditional healthier options, plant-based foods, good quality protein, organic foods. That doesn't mean that I don't have those treats, but I make sure that no matter what it is I'm putting into my body, that I create that meal with love, and that I then think it's fucking awesome that I'm putting it into my body, and that I'm really going to enjoy it, no matter what it is. And if it's not something that I can enjoy or think is fucking awesome, then I can put it aside and go, actually, I didn't really want that. But if I really want that chocolate bar, then why not fucking enjoy it? Excuse my swearing today. Not feeling the best. There's a lot of swear words coming out. And so that's one of the things that I think is a really important strategy or facet to lifting up the vibrations of that cycle of mood and food to help shift it to that higher level. Okay, eating and giving ourselves love. The second one that I want to talk about today is that when we look at depression, and if you've experienced depression yourself and been in the worst parts of it, the feeling that we have is one of being stuck in the deepest rut you can imagine. Everything feels numb, nothing's moving, nothing's changing. It doesn't feel like there's any movement going on in your life. You're just there in this numb place with no feeling except this awful hollowness. And if we extrapolate that or use that as a metaphor for what we need to be putting into our bodies, it's really a metaphor for constipation, that completely stuck, clogged up, nothing's moving anywhere. And so in order to help shift our depression, in order to help push ourselves through that dark night that we're in, through to that other side where there is light and a beautiful morning and a beautiful day ahead filled with passion and purpose, we need to be feeding ourselves food that shift through our body. And so let's have a think about the sorts of things that don't get stuck, the sorts of things that move through our bodies. And I'm thinking here, and this is what works for me, might be different for you because our bodies are unique, but for me it's soft foods, things with lots of moisture in them, so soups, smoothies, juices, baked vegetables, sometimes raw things, sometimes cooked things. Personally, I like things to be a little warm, but that's just me. But I find, those soft things, they sit softly inside of me, and they sit warmly inside of me, and they create a feeling of warmth and shift and movement that is so healing for depression. The other things that, and I've written them down, the other things that really help to create that shift, green plants, kale, spinach, silver beet. Now, there's been times where I've gone through quite long periods and I haven't had a lot of green veggies. It just hasn't really appeared on my radar. I haven't really put in the effort to be eating them. And I get stodged up pretty quickly when I don't have them. And so for me, those are key foods to help me shifting along, to help me keep movement up every day, which then helps my depression to move along as well. Okay, it helps to keep my mood active and not passive and squashed and stuck. Because for me, I know that's the beginning of me going back downhill again. I think I've come out of depression now, and I'm so determined not to go back there again. And I will change whatever I need to in my life. I will transform it. I am transforming it so that I don't go back there. But one of the things that I know is that depression is the ultimate form of being stuck. And so my focus really especially in this post, is to talk about the need to keep things shifting and the need to keep things moving. So if you're someone who suffers from depression and constipation, I would say to you, that's not a coincidence. Your body is reflecting the mood that you're in, okay? And so the food that you eat needs to reflect the mood that you want to be in, okay? So act with love, feed yourselves those, those foods that shift you along. And for me, that's a coffee or two a day. I know coffee is meant to be bad, but I make sure I fucking enjoy that coffee when I have it. I don't have it with dairy milk. I have it with something else because dairy clogs me up and slows me down. Usually I choose soy or almond, but either way, those coffees, they help to shift me along as well. They keep things moving for me down there. And so my focus now on what I eat is the first point that I made, eating with intention, making sure that what I put in my body, I love that I put it in there. And secondly, I eat things that help me to shift along, that help my guts keep moving. And in shifting and moving, things are constantly changing for me. And I'm stepping up and moving forward, and I'm leaving depression behind. So I'd just like you to have a think today about what is it that you're eating and how is the health of your guts, your digestive system. Are you clogged up? And can you see a relationship between any stuckness or clogging in your digestion and the stuckness that you might be feeling in your life? And also, are you consciously choosing to think loving thoughts about the food that you put into your body, no matter what it is? If it's a chocolate muffin with thick frosting on top, sounds fucking awesome to me. Are you eating it with love? Or are you eating it thinking, oh, I shouldn't be having this, but, I'm really going to put it in there anyway, nobody will see it, or perhaps if I have an apple later, then it'll make it okay. Get rid of that crap. Okay, if you're going to eat the chocolate muffin, fucking enjoy it and go, you know what, that was the best chocolate muffin I ever fucking had. And if you're not going to be able to say that about the chocolate muffin, then maybe you didn't really want it. Go find whatever else you really wanted to eat. And if it's something healthy, in inverted commas, then enjoy eating that too and go, this is so awesome, I cooked this, I love it, I grew those veggies, or I bought that from the farmer's market, whichever. How awesome is it that I'm eating this? I love that I'm eating this for breakfast or dinner or lunch or whatever. Okay, have a think about that for today. The link between food and mood, and back again, mood and food, that cycle. See if you can start just tweaking it up just a little, just a little, just a little. An action a day, and get yourself really loving that food and mood that you're in. See ya.